What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Hi, how are you? No, that's not it, no. Okay. Hi sisters, Ella here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. No, doesn't feel right, that's not it. Hey all you cool cats and kittens, Carol Baskins here from the Big Cat Rescue. It's not it either. Let me ring Roxee and see what it is. Fuck. Rox, what's our intro? Okay, hi guys, Roxee Horror here. Oh, I'm Roxee Horror, and I'm Ellawarra, and you're watching Word Vomit. Oh, okay. Thanks. I'm Roxee Horror, and I'm Ellawarra, and you're watching Word Vomit. Is going through it, sis. Through it. Alright guys, so one of the most requested videos that myself and Roxee have is for us to complete our own individual makeup tutorials so you guys can learn how we do things and what products we use. So, let's get into it. So a lot of drag queens always start with their cover of their eyebrows, but because I shave mine off and I look like a total hard-boiled egg right now, I start off with my actual drag eyebrows. So I like to go in with a flat concealer brush. It's a Morphe M124 brush, and I also use my contour color, which is a Krylon paint stick in. The shade has rubbed off the thing. So this is going to be my base before I set it with shadows. So I like to go in. I usually start around, so you'll have a look where the natural contour of your nose goes, and then at the end of that contour at the top, that's where I'll start it, and then we'll go up. So I like to start probably around here, and I like to go, I'm not sure what kind of mathematical angle this is, but I go up this way. I don't know if y'all can hear the birds outside, but it's really early in the morning, so I want you guys to, I live in nature, so we go all the way up. And I go to about this crease because I haven't got my Botox in a while. So go to that crease and then I will just drag across. And that'll be the base from where I make it a little bit thicker. And then we'll make the arch of the eyebrow. And then take that out. Now everyone's face is going to be different when they draw their eyebrows. So you're just going to have to go with the natural contours of your face and then figure out where it's going to go. And because there's nothing on your skin, well, when you have brows that are covered, it's a little bit harder, but because I have nothing on my skin, I can kind of just make my ombre with my finger. And that's one. Let me do the other one. A common misconception is that your eyebrows have to look identical, but trust me, these things don't have to be like James Charles Dad sisters. They can live across the street from each other, it's fine. I'm actually having a good brow day. It's actually kind of even. If you're like me and you have a few pimples because your skin's been going through it, you can also use those as a guideline and just connect the dots. Just remember, these don't have to be perfect because when you set it with your powders and you cut it with your concealer, that's when you're going to get that brow that's completely snatched. Alright, they're looking pretty even, so I'm going to go into my powders now. My powders, I use the James Charles palette and I use 3 different shades from the palette. Now, I'm not like Roxee and label my palette, so I have no idea what the shades are, so I'm actually going to go in with this shade here as my transition shade. I'm going to deepen it with this shade here, and then I'm just going to buff out the end to ombre it back into my regular skin color with this shade. So I like to grab a fluffy Morphe M33 brush to grab that transition shade. And you're just going to grab a little bit of that on your brush, tap off the excess, and then you're kind of just going to go over from like your arch out to the tail. You're going to set the cream that you just put down. Now you don't want to drag it all the way down because you want your brows to be ombre, so I'll show you how to achieve the perfect ombre down towards your nose in a second. Alright, so once your transition shade's laid, I like to go in with another, this is a Morphe M441 brush. I like to grab that last shade, which is kind of the same tone as my skin, and then I'll go in on the end, and I will set the end and ombre that up. I like to go in with a flat brush. This is a Morphe 410 brush, and that's when I grab my darker shade, and I'm going to deepen the tails of my brows with this one. So you just want to grab it, you want to kind of go from the arch all the way out to the end and kind of curve it down as well, and you do that on the bottom too. Now this doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, so you can do it haphazardly if you want. Haphazardly, what kind of word is that? What am I using? And you want to grab it and kind of just bring it to around about there. Making sure it's nice and pigmented in there because you want it to, you know, show a little bit of dimension. I want to do that on the other side as well. Alright, so once the tails on both sides have been deepened, you can go back in with that transition shade, grab a little bit of it on your brush and kind of just ombre that together so it's seamless and you can't tell that you were being messy with it. Because we don't like a messy bitch. Alright, so once you have set the creams with your eyeshadow, you want to go in with your concealer. In my case, my concealer is another Kryolan TV paint stick. I have the shade also rubbed off. So you just want to grab a little bit of that on your flat brush, the same one that you used before, the Morphe 124 brush. And that's when you're going to go in on the bottoms and you're going to cut the eyebrow so it's nice and perfect. You always want to get your arch and then pull your tail out. Oh, yes. You know you're having a good brow day when you're reacting to your brows like a fucking idiot. Now you can leave the top. We don't have to cut the top yet. We'll do that when we do the foundation on our foreheads. So once you've cut the bottom of your brow, you can just go ahead and do the other one. Right, so they're nice and cut on the bottoms now. So what I like to do after there, a lot of people go and they finish their base before they do their eyes, but I like to start with my eyes. So I'll go in with my my little sponge. I use the Real Technique sponge. You can just grab it at any drugstore in Australia. Drugstore, what am I talking about? I'm fucking Australian. You can grab it at a chemist, you can grab it at a Priceline, anything like that. I go in with the same Kryolan paint stick, and this is what I'll lay my base to then put my shadows on. I like to get a nice thin layer of it because you don't want too much, because when you have too much then you've got to pack a lot of shadows on it to actually set it. Whereas if it's thin, just a nice thin layer on there, you won't have to pack too many shadows. Now you look like a complete total idiot, you can go in and start doing your shadows. So today I'm going to be using the Jeffree Star Cosmetic Bloodlust palette to complete my eye look. I'm going to do a purple, nice smoky purple eyes. I'm going to use Deviant. I am also going to use Blood Queen, and then I'm going to use Executioner, which Executioner is the best black shadow I have ever used. It is so blendable and it is, it's just amazing. You want to start off with your lightest shade, so I use the Morphe JS6 brush, which is Jeffree's collaboration with Morphe, and I'm going to go in with Deviant, which is that lightest shade, and I'm just going to pack that on my lid. So I like to bring my shadows just to about here. So that's where I'll start packing the color on. I like to use patting motions. I feel when you drag it, it doesn't hold as much pigmentation onto the skin. Whereas if you pat it in, it actually embeds the pigmentation into your base that you have there. So with that brush, you just keep packing it on and you want to just drag it up towards the tail of the brow. Take your base shade, you want to go in with a fluffy brush to get your darker shade. I use the Morphe 433 brush, which is just another little fluffy brush, and I'll go in with Blood Queen, and then I'll deepen my crease with that. I also like to use patting motions with this one as well, just so you can get that pigment added into that lighter shade. I like to use what's called they call it a 50% rule. So you want to always blend 50% on the 50% on the shade that you've already laid, and then 50% off that shade. Then I'll go back in with the lighter purple to blend those together. Now I've blended those two colors together, I'm going to go in with my little brush, which is the Morphe 152 brush. It's actually really, really tiny, and I only ever use this one brush to do my black shadows. So I'm going to go in with Executioner, and I'm going to kind of drag it from the outside of my eye, and then I'm going to kind of create where I'm gonna put my cut crease. So I like to drag it out a little bit to accentuate my eye, and I'll bring it up and around, kind of like a oval, and then down into where you want your cut crease to go. Blend that out, especially in this top corner. You want to blend that out. It'll create a little bit of drama for your eyeball. Alright, so once you've laid that black, you want to go back in with blood cream, which is your darker purple color. And again, using that 50% rule, go half on the black, half off. And you just want to blend that out. Oh, yes! There we go. Now she's happening. Oh. Trust and believe, this black is never going to go muddy. It's just going to blend perfectly. Grab that lighter color so you can go on the outside, drag it down. Oh, so pretty. Oh, so good. Ah. So now once that's on, we're gonna cut our crease. So I like to cut my crease with Jeffree Star's Drug Lord, which is a liquid lip, which is also eye safe. I like to grab a little bit. This one doesn't have much left, but because of fucking coronavirus, they're not shipping at the moment. So I have 2 coming, but they're just not here yet. You wanna cut along that black line. So I go from here. I don't know why, but I see a lot of people doing makeup tutorials and they don't put their black on until after they cut their crease. I'm a bit confused. Because if you just lay it in the first place and you cut it, you're literally cutting your crease. Look, it's right there. And then I'm gonna go in and set that with a white eyeshadow. So the white shadow that I like to set my whites with is from the Blood Sugar palette. It's called Glucose. As you can see, I've hit pan on it, so it's fucking... It is fantastic. I like to do my whites with the little Morphe 152 brush. And I will only ever use this for my whites because it's just so little and it just gets into all the spots here too. So you want to get that powder and just pack it on. So pretty. You can drag it down a little bit. It won't matter too much because you're going to throw liner on and then you're not going to see it when you throw a big lash on. Alright, so now that you got your white on your crease, you just want to go back in with your darker purple shade. So I grab a little bit of that on my fluffy brush and I'm just gonna kind of blend back into the crease. Just creates a little bit of an ombre effect and just looks really, really pretty when you're photographing your makeup. And just like that. Alright guys, so that's the top of the eye done. I do the bottom of my eyes after my base is done, so I'm going to go ahead and do the top of my other eye and then I'll be back. Alright guys, now the other eye is complete, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start my base. So, what I like to do before my base is I like to prime. At the moment I'm using the Tatcha Silk Canvas primer. This is pretty expensive, but it does the best job and makes everything look so smooth. So literally just grab it and put it on everywhere. Alright, so once your primer's on, I like to go in and color correct my beard. I like to use Becca in the shape of Paya. It's a color corrector. Because everyone's beard is like a blue base, the opposite to blue on the color wheel is orangey. So if you get an orangey kind of clay red color, cover your beard with that, it will cancel each other out, and once you lay your foundation on it, you won't see a thing. Look at this powder puff that I left in my... Alright, so once you're all color corrected, I like to go in with a translucent powder and just set that so it doesn't move. Alright, so once that's all set, I like to go in and I like to start laying my base. So I'll go back in with my Kryolan TV paint stick and I'll pretty much just cover my face. I like to use a flat Morphe brush, which is the Morphe 224 brush, and that's what I cut the top of my brows in first, because you don't want to get too close to it with your blender. So you go up and you just carefully cut your eyebrows. Hardly ever get it the first time, but isn't that great? And kind of just cover your face in your foundation. So once you've swiped all of your foundation onto your face, I like to go in with the really, really massive Real Techniques Beauty Blender just to blend all that in. When I use dabbing motions, a lot of people like to swipe, and that's when you create those lines that you get in your face, and you do not want to set your foundation with lines in your face because you will literally see them all night long with this face on and it will be gross. Oh, what a nasty people. Yuck. so once that's on, you want to go in with your dark contour shade. So I like to do a shit stain around the forehead. Because I have really, really prominent cheekbones, I will like literally do this, turn to the side, and then it's kind of like a little dimply area that's there. And then I'll just kind of like swipe it up in there. Now, because you're a massive man, you want to get rid of that jawline, so you do a really dark one here, and then you kind of just go around here. Because I got a cute little butt chin that everybody says they want to fuck, I like to accentuate that as well. Alright, to blend out the contour, I use the Morphe 439 brush. It's like a stippling brush, so I just grab that, and you want to grab your foundation and then kind of just drag it down. Now, it's okay if you mess this up a little bit and drag it down under that line that you created, because you can just fix that up with the other shade. Go around that butt chin and then cancel that jawline out. Alright, now because I went under that line that's there, I'm going to go back in with my Beauty Blender, which has that lighter shade on it, and just bring that back up. Once you've achieved that, you want to use a little bit of white. Now, the only parts that I like to accentuate on my face with white are the inner corners of my eyes and then a little bit in the middle of the forehead. So again, I grab another Morphe brush. This is the 166 brush. I'll grab a little bit of that white on the brush and then we'll put it in here. And then a little bit just here. Like the tiniest bit. Like I've had this stick for 3 years and I hardly use it. Just grab a little Beauty Blender and we'll blend that out. Now the reason I do this is because I have such small eyes, so if I grab the attention to my eyes, it makes them look a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. I used to get teased in school because and they used to call me Asian because I had such slanty eyes. Right, so once that's done, I go back in with my Morphe 124 brush and with my darker shade, and then I'm going to contour the nose. Because I already have like a pretty decently symmetrical small nose, I don't like to accentuate it too much. So I kind of just want to create that little bit of a point and bring this shade up into where the brow is. So I don't like to put too dark of a contour on my nose because I like to go in with my shadows and do it with my shadows, so, well, powders, not shadows. Alright guys, now that all my creams are done, I'm going to go in with my powders and set it. So I like to set under the eyes. This is the Krylon blending powder in white. Now a lot of people ask me, why don't you use the translucent powder? And I just find that the blending powder just blends all of my contours together so well. So you want to do all of the lighter areas of your face with the white. So under your eyes, on top of your lips, your chin. I like to fold my powder puff in half and then cut my contour as well and then blend that down. You want to do the middle of your forehead, bring that up, and then down the bridge of your nose. So on my contours, I like to just use that same blending powder, but not as much, and just go over the top with a light layer of it. Alright, now that's on there, I like to leave it for around about 5 minutes and then I'll dust it off and then I'll start going in and deepening my face with my powders. Alright, so it's been sitting there for around 5 minutes, so I'm just going to dust all of that off now. So the contour palette I like to use is the Shade and Light palette by Kat Von D. It's so good, I've used it so much, I've hit pan on pretty much every shade. So I like to go in with the deepest shade. I use this two-ended brush. It is by Kat Von D. It came with the actual palette. Go in with the deepest shade, and that's when I will deepen the under the cheekbone. Everyone always says, how do you make your cheekbones so big? And literally, like, I'm blessed with big cheekbones already, but contouring really, really, really does help. It's contour, and I just go under the cheekbone and around the top of the forehead with the darkest shade, and also on the edge where you're cutting that jawline out. For that, I will go in the Morphe JS2 brush, which is just a big fluffy brush, and I go in with that second contour. Ooh, I'm using Jeffree and Kat together. They'd probably fucking kill me if they saw this. But I use that the second shade in the palette, and then I will blend out the rest of the contour with that. I'm not really good at explaining things. I watched a couple of like makeup tutorials before I did this, and it's not gonna work, sis. So once you've deepened your contours with those powders, I like to go in with my blush, and I like to deepen my contour even more with a little bit of blush. So I use I don't even know what kind of brush this is, but it's a gold one, angled, and I use my blush. I use the Oh Honey palette, which is Trixie and Sugar Pill, made this together. So I just go in with that, and I kind of go from the top of my contour and then bring it down onto the apples of my cheeks. I never used to use blush in drag until somebody called me out on Instagram saying, not enough blush, and now I'm like, bitch, you just wait. Brings life back into your makeup. Like, before I look back on photos that I've done before when I wasn't wearing blush, and I really looked not very good. Oh, the first time I did drag, guys, I did it for Mardi Gras, probably 3 years ago now, and I got my makeup done by somebody at like a makeup counter in Bondi Junction, and oh my god, I'm gonna pop a picture of it up here. Who is she? The eyebrows, oh my god. I thought I was the only bitch that night, and now I understand I'm not. Alright, now that's done, I'm going to contour the nose. So I like to go in with the darkest shade from the Kat Von D palette, and I also use this Morphe E62 brush. So I run the darkest shade along and up into where your brow is. Just along the bridge of the nose, or the bridge that you've created with your green contours. And you bring that up into the brow. You also use that darker shade just to set down the bottom. Kind of looks like you've shoved your nose in somebody's asshole, but that's kind of okay. At the end, it's going to look cute. I also like to add a little bit of blush to the nose as well, just to bring a little bit of life back into your face. Oh, I put a little bit too much. You can blend that down and out. And a little bit on the end. Coronavirus! Alright, so once that's done, I like to go back in with my powder puff and my blending white powder, and that's what I'm going to bake on my face. You just want it to pop, and by putting this white on there, it will lighten up all the colours that you've already laid and just give you that extra pop that you need to give that dimension to your face. Now I leave that there while I go in and I do my highlight. Alright, so for highlighter, I like to go in with 3 different highlights. So the first one I use is the Ice Cold by Jeffree Star. The second one I use is one that I got when the first time I did drag, and they gave it to me as like a product, but it's like kind of a skin tony color, and it's good to blend in the Ice Cold because it is so harsh. And then on top of that, I go in with Glitter Bomb by Fenty. So with Ice Cold, I like to just grab it literally straight onto my finger, and I'll put it on the highest point of the cheek. And because this is such a pigmented highlighter, I just kind of leave that there. See that? Jesus. And I'll go in with that second one from Inglot, and then I get that on a Morphe M501 brush, which is a highlighting brush, and just get a little bit of that on there, and then I blend that into my contour. Now I do the same kind of thing on my nose as well. I get the Ice Cold, and I literally put it straight down my nose. Can you see that? And I also bring that up into this area of the forehead. And go back in with that same brush, grab a little bit of it on your brush, and I like to highlight the inside of my forehead as well. It just gives you that nice shiny look. And then grab a little bit on your finger and then do the tip of your nose. You just want like a little dot on the tip of your nose, and then blend that out with the brush. And you get a nice little highlighted nose. I kind of look sweaty, but I love it. I just love highlighting the center of my forehead. Alright, so once you're highlighted, you can go in and wipe off your bake. You can see now that it really accentuates the white that's right under that contour and gives you that little bit of a pop. And the same with your nose. Just like that. Face is all contoured, you can go in and finish the bottom of your eyes. So I like to go back in with Jeffree's Drug Lord, and that's what I create the white line under my eye with. Alright, so I go in my powder puff just to pull down the eye a little bit, and you want to grab that white and create that line under your eye. Under the eyes, we're going to go back in with the shadows that we use on top. So I like to go in with the lightest shade first. Bring her in, you're going to see some amazing facials in there. Then you go in with your darker shade, bring her in, just to deepen that. You want to smoke that out, and you go in with your black. And I like to go with a liner. I like to use the NYX one. It's the Epic Ink Liner. And that's what I'll just line just to deepen that black that's in there and bring it across into the inner corner of the eye. Right, now you do the same on the other eye. Now once you've done the other eye, I like to go in with this. It is a Rimmel. It's kind of like a white metallic pearlescent. It's a liquid which goes to eyeshadow. And I like to just accentuate my whites with this just even more. So I grab this and I kind of go from the inner corner of my eye and I like to bring that up just that little bit. The more you accentuate a little bit of white in this area of your face, the bigger your eye will look. Like so. And after that, you just want to go in with a little bit of mascara. It doesn't matter what mascara it is. This is literally a MAC one that came in a random box of makeup that Roxee gave me, and it works a treat. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab my lashes. I use it's called Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive, which is what I use to put my lashes on. So I just grab a little bit of that and you just stick it on the spine. Everybody knows how to do a lash. Stick it on the spine of your lash. I like to put a lot on because I don't want it to fucking move throughout the night. Put a lot of it on and you just kind of pop it to the side so it can dry while you complete a little bit of the rest of your face. Alright, now the lashes are on, it's time to move on to lips. I use NYX lip liners because they just go on so smooth and they're so easy to blend out. So I like to just go a little bit just above my actual lip line. Just follow the natural contours of my lip. Actual pencil to color your lip in as if it is your liquid lip. This looks like shit, but watch this. And I also go in with my Krylon liquid lip, which is the shade Blues. And you just want to pop that in the middle. And bring that up. Like that. And you literally, with your finger, blend it together. Now to make that pop, you can go with your Drug Lord by Jeffree Star and just pop it literally right in the center, just the littlest bit of it, just to create that little bit of highlight in the middle of your lip. Alright, so my favorite part of highlighting is when I get to go in with my Glitter Bomb by Fenty Beauty. This thing, a little bit expensive, but it creates such a good highlight. So you want to pretty much put it on top of all your highlights that you've already got. See that? It just adds that extra pop of sparkle. I like to put it on the nose, the chin. I also like to do my Cupid's bow in it and the bottom of my lip, just to create that little bit of highlight on your lip. And I go in and I also add it to my shadows, just to add that little bit of dimension. Am I done? I think I'm done. Alright guys, that's pretty much all of my face done. Ow, I just whacked myself in the face. Alright guys, that's pretty much all of my face done. So I'm gonna go pop a wig on, put on an outfit, and I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, so this is my final look for today. A lot of you have requested this and I hope you have learnt something from today, and I think the main takeaway from today is that you can polish a turd. Look at me before and look at me after, bitch. You can make anything look good with a little bit of makeup. This is so hard doing an outro by yourself. If you like this video, you can go down and press the little thumbs up icon. If you didn't like it, you can go and press thumbs down, but you know, I fucking hate you, sweetie. And remember that we upload every Wednesday for Wednesday Word Vomit. We'll see you next week. Is that it? I think that's it. I think I did it. Is that enough? Alright. See you guys.